Welcome back to another Market Monday, the video series where I document the auction house prices so that we've kind of got a guide for next year's game. So let's get into today's prices. I do want to note that it is Tuesday, October 20th, technically not Market Monday on a Tuesday. I was very sick, so we're going to call it Market Monday just a day late. I apologize. There's no new content released on Monday, so I'm going to deem it okay. Just touching on the stuff that did come out that's pretty big that we're going to have to keep track of. The new Beast Mode event, which in my opinion is one of the best events that they've done all year. A format that I hope they keep with the upgradable stuff. We're going to take a look at this because this had massive implications. This is, in my opinion, the best way to run events for EA with the line combo and salary cap system. So that's going to change a lot, but it did come with multiple +6 overall boosts to line combos and things like that. So we're going to touch on the prices during the first week of that drop. But let's get into what we always do. We'll start first with icons. All right, so we begin with icons and just the total on the auction house. This is the weirdest thing. For like the last 3 weeks, it's been 76. As of right now, 75. I have no idea why, but we're at 75. Nothing has really changed here. Now, last week, we were at 85,000 coins per 86 overall. And again, that was mostly due to, Lindros coming out. He came out about 2 weeks ago. So they've fallen back down, again, about 85,000, just above it, actually. So they've gone up a couple thousand, but nothing really crazy here in terms of price points. It looks like they've settled in right around 90,000 coins. Again, you need an 86 to make Lindros and McKinnon, Lindros being still one of the best cards in the game. So nothing really surprising there. Now, taking a look at some of the specific ones, Fedorov, who was at about 105,000 coins last week, now under 100 for the first time in a little while. So kind of surprising there. Again, there's really nothing that he can fit into in terms of line combos. He's still one of the best cards in the game, and you do need 86s to make Lindros. So icons are always going to hold their value to a certain point. But Fedorov is starting to come down a little bit. There's so many good options for some crazy line combinations, and he just doesn't fit one. If they ever come out with a Russian +3 line or one where Detroit Red Wing, there is one for an icon, but it wouldn't fit the +6, only a +3. So that's probably why we don't see a big jump for him. Now, Solani hit 80,000 coins last week, and it's still among one of the cheapest you can get. As you can see, there's 27 on the market. And I think a lot of that is because at the beginning of the game, everyone was pulling icons during the pre-order, and there was really no other high-rated cards other than icons. And then if you pre-order the game, you probably took Solani or Fedorov. And now he doesn't fit the popular line combos anymore. I talked about this last week. And he's now up to about 85,000 coins, which is the bare minimum. So, again, last week you go for just over 80. It looks like Solani doesn't fit like the new hotness in terms of line combos, so people have just moved on. Again, he's still one of the best cards in the game. And if he ever gets another +3 boost or +6 boost ever, he'll explode in price. But nonetheless, if you find one for a bottom barrel price of what other 86 overall icons are going for, I would just buy one because if, line combos reset in Season 2 and he's usable, even if he's not, you can trade him in for a future icon. So interested to see how that plays out. Now, we always take a look at Paul Coffey. He was about 250,000 coins, none on the market. Best defenseman in the game. He can get a +3 boost now. He is not going to hit it like the auction house. He's just so far and away one of the best. The power of line combos. My man Joe Thornton fits a specific +6 overall boost. He was going for like 60,000 coins a couple weeks ago, 130,000. Again, just a reminder that the pricing of some of these cards, if you just hold on, at some point it looks like they're just going to go through the roof. Sakic again in the free fall. Again, he is much like Solani, where he was one of the most popular big line combination benefactors forever with the Swedish and Czechia with the Joe Sakic's card. But now there's just so many better options. Last week he was 190, now going for about 170. And for the first time, Lindros is like right around 200,000 coins, going for 220. But prior, he was so expensive because you could only basically build him. 220,000 coins. Again, do the math on if you want to spend the coins required to make him. But I would assume it's pretty close. When it comes to making Lindros, again, you'll need about 85,000 coins to just get the 86 overall icon. Good Lord. 2 weeks ago, Eric Lindros has dropped 60,000 coins for an 84. 35,000 per for an 84 overall. That is a crazy price drop, meaning just quick math. 190,000 coins to make Eric Lindros right now. He's going for about 220. I'd rather always just have the tradable just in case, but you know that you're going to eventually be able to trade in Eric Lindros. There isn't many better cards for 190,000 coins, I can assure you that. That'll make an 84 overall. You can trade in 82 or 83 overall Alumni. These credit in price too. Last week, they were 13,000 coins. Now they are 10,000. Again, that's about half of what they were 2 weeks ago. And then lastly, you can make an 83 with 81 to 82 overall. These are going for 1,000 more than last week. They are going for 8,000 per. They were 7 last week. I think this is because of how good the event is, and it has gotten to the point where even Alumni are now having to raise up in price because 81s are so sought after for event trade-ins. That's my guess. Now on to Heroes. 34 were on the auction house last week, back down to 21. Heroes just aren't pulled at all, guys. Like I've said this all year long. There has always been such a small amount of Heroes just tradable on the auction house. It's very weird. It's clearly an issue with like the pull rates of them. I don't really understand it. And actually there's a bunch of 86 overall on there as well, including Ward and Phillips. Now, last week you could get some for about 50,000 coins. Same thing here. So they've really held their value. Again, you need 2 to make Gartner, but so many people have gone and made Gartner that 2 weeks after the fact, if you haven't gotten him already, he's not really someone to chase after. There's a lot of event items. Event items have gone through the roof. I'm very curious to come back in about a month or so after the new event or the new season drops, because all the line combos that event items are taking up the popularity of, those are going to go away because the line combos are reset, and there'll probably be some heroes and whatnot, especially with trade-ins. Like we'll see 88 overall heroes that will require hero trade-ins. So very curious to see how this price fluctuates. Now, the barrier for entry of Alumni of any amount is 79 to 80 overall. You're looking at 6,500 for a 79 to 80 overall Alumni. I know this is because of the event, because some of the base items have exploded in price. So crazy when the Alumni cards start to go up in price simply because not the icons are sought after, but the overall itself becomes more important. Very strange behavior, because I personally would rather have icons than the base items, because you know that those would are going to be more important eventually in the long run. So curious to see how this keeps playing out. All right, now the Faceoff event has come and gone. I do want to take a look at some of the cards specifically that I was interested in that gave a specific +6 overall. So we're going to look at Rickard Rakell was one. Now, last week, you could get him for 220,000 coins. 105,000. A week later. Crazy. Matthew Nyes, 305,000 coins was the cheapest. Again, about 50% less in cost. You can get one. There's one up for 145,000 coins. Matthias Michelli, he was 90,000. Again, fits a specific +6. 40,000 coins, literally half, more than half. And Brett Howden, he was 20,000, now down to 7,800. Crazy. They came out with so many good +6 overall line combos that have far more options than the Faceoff event did. The Faceoff event was like the very start of it, where there was very specific cards that could get you a +6. The Beast Mode event has tons, and a lot of them are buildable, and one of them is completely buildable. So crazy there. And lastly, Jack Eichel's base card was 250,000 coins. It actually held its value. It only dropped down to 183. I thought this would crater even more, but 183,000 down from 250 during the event. All right, so now some massive changes because the Beast Mode event operates completely differently than all of the other events. I've gone over why I think this is one of the best events. Essentially, again, for future me to remember, you build an 81 overall, then you use tokens to upgrade all the way up to 86. However, you get all of those tokens back if you refund, meaning that if you make all of the master set player items for the rest of the year, at any point, if a new line combo comes out, you can refund down McKinnon or Kucherov or whoever you want and upgrade all the other ones if it fits a specific line combo, so you don't miss out on the Jack Eichel or Clayton Keller line combo that is very specific from an old MSP style event. So this has made all of these prices explode. Starting first, 78 overalls, 3,000 coins. Like, we were seeing this for 1,100. So 3,000 coins will get you 178 overall. Like, the market variations are so crazy that I don't know how you predict specifically what overalls to buy and sell. Again, this is for me to remember in the future, but good Lord, like that is a crazy jump. 79s, the cheapest up is 6,000. These were 1,700 2 weeks ago. 6,000. I mean, at this rate, if you did Cup Chase on Superstar, regardless if you only got an 82 high, you've got to make the most amount of coins for a Cup Chase run at any point in the year, potentially. Like, I might have to do this just for science. Crazy. 6,000. Okay, now how you upgrade these cards is with token sets, and you need specific overalls. So 78 and 79s go into making a token, which again makes sense. You can also trade in 80 overall items as well as 181 for 2. And what's crazy here is because EA is not doing 78 and above items. They're just doing 78 and 79s, meaning that 80s can't go into those sets. 80 overalls are going for the same price as 79s. So just something to keep in mind here, like these are the same price as a 79 because you need 79s to make the base master set icon, the master set player item. You've got 81 overalls going for 7,500. Again, only 1,000 more roughly than a 79. And then lastly, you need an 82 and an 83 for 4 of those tokens. You need 15 to make an MSP. You can get an 82 for 9,500, which is like the cheapest up right now. And an 83 is going for 29,000 coins. Again, just a crazy spike. A new team of the week came out, and it's Dylan Larkin. Extremely good card, much like Tage Thompson. Last week we had Boldy, who wasn't. And what do you know? The prices have gone up about 5,000 for just an 83 overall. Last week, an 83 overall was going for 25K. Boldy wasn't sought after. Dylan Larkin is. Price goes way up. The final death knell in Connor McDavid's base card. So last week, they released an update that allowed us to use multiple captains in our lineup, meaning that even if you couldn't use Connor McDavid's captain card to get a boost, you can now make Roman Josi or McAvoy or Zabinajad to get a captain boost that fits your lineup. McDavid's price will never recover. He is in the just under 60,000 coins. There's 27 up. And the only way this changes is if we aren't able to use Season 1 captains in Season 2. If that's the case, McDavid's card probably skyrockets, but even if I was just starting out the game, his base card is the best card for 60,000 coins, so I don't know how much more it can fall, but I could see it go up only if we can't use Season 1 captains in Season 2, but that's not confirmed. We have no idea. And then there's Nathan McKinnon. And what a crazy situation Nathan McKinnon cards were. 200,000 coins about 3 weeks ago. And then we got the icon drop with Gartner, Lindros, and McDavid. And his price dropped to about 120,000. Ever since then, he's been slowly declining. 30,000 coins. 33,000 coins you can get a McKinnon card for, because he is now buildable. You can build Nathan McKinnon and upgrade him at your own pace. Buildable cards will forever tank the base item of that player. We know that. But Nathan McKinnon's drop specifically was crazy because it wasn't like there was a buildable option or even a better version of Nathan McKinnon. An 86 or an 87 didn't come out of Nathan McKinnon like a transaction card or anything like that, Game Breaker. He just got replaced by cards that didn't, because he didn't really fit a line combo. He was so good, but he just kept coming down when there was better options. So in the future, again, at the launch of 27, I'm going to watch out for cards that don't have any line combos that are amazing base items. And I just don't know why you would hold on to them going into next year. Like McDavid's McDavid. McKinnon is great, but he's not McDavid's card. And if he gets a buildable option, it's over. So crazy fall here. 33,000 coins for Nathan McKinnon. That's the best buy, I think, in the game if you were a brand new player. And then lastly, we take a look at fantasy items. Last week, there was 60 total in the auction house. Now there is only 50, as more and more people, the very few that will just be a casual player that save up to get their favorite player from their favorite team. Now all that's left, like I mentioned last week, it's the same 5 to 10 people that own a bunch of these that are just selling it to each other because they get desperate, and someone gets desperate enough and then they decide to sell. It's hilarious, and no casual player is going to get these. Like, they are there's really nothing actionable you can do. You should just ignore them if you're a casual player, in all honesty. When it comes to cards under 1 million, there was 18 up. Now there is only 9. And what do you know? Lilgren, 730, 950. Like, no one's... I don't know who's buying. Hannafin's hurt. Letang is injured. Ben is out. Spurgeon is Spurgeon. And Lilgren is just on a brutal team that doesn't have people that score. The last thing we do is we take a look at the total items in the auction house. 11,000. For the third straight week, it has dropped a mass amount. 3 weeks ago, 17,900. The next week was 15,000. Last week was 13,000. Now we're down to 11. Again, I talked about this. There's no way to determine it exactly, but because there's cards that are just so sought after for making and you need the lowest overall cards, like 78 and 79s are the must makes, but they're also the most common cards that are on the auction house because they're the lowest, like they're the most easy to pull. But obviously it also means a major decline in the actual player base. 11,000. Again, it was almost 20,000 a month ago. So crazy news there. That's going to do it for this week's Market Monday. Apologize for the delay in the video. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.